and then you tried to rape her. Well, sir, you're a pedophile, you're a murderer, and you're really the embodiment of evil.
I hate you for what you did to me and my family. You ruined my life. You ruined all of our lives.
Is he refusing to participate?
He's refusing to put on clothes, so in a word, yes.
In September 2022, Jim Matthews, a well-known WWJ radio anchor, returned to his Chesterfield Township home, where Arthur Williamson, invited over by Matthews' partner, Nicole Gorton, was present. The visit quickly turned tragic when a violent confrontation took place. Williamson attacked Matthews and harmed both Gorton and their daughter and son.
And then you tried to rape her. Now, you said in your statement it's also in the PSI, you didn't want to go out as a pedophile. Well, sir, you're a pedophile, and you're really the embodiment of evil.
Nicole managed to escape with their daughter, while first responders later discovered the couple's son tied and injured in a closet. Williamson was found in the basement and taken into custody after receiving medical attention. Following the incident, Williamson faced multiple charges, including first-degree murder and assault. In early 2023, prosecutors presented evidence during court proceedings, highlighting the sequence of events. Williamson eventually entered a no-contest plea.
September 23rd will forever be a date I dread, a date that took our world away. Jim was always a rock for our little family.
I hate you. I hate you for what you did to me and my family. You ruined my life. You ruined all of our lives.
During sentencing, Matthews' family shared emotional statements, describing the lasting pain caused by Williamson's actions.
I am sorry. I'm sorry.
He has no remorse. He just doesn't want to go to jail with the church. That's why he took the plea deal. If there is no punishment on this earth, in heaven or hell, that would be just for what he has done.
In June 2023, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The court condemned his behavior, ensuring that he would remain behind bars permanently. In May 2023, an incident unfolded at a Detroit gas station after Samuel McCrae's card was declined while attempting to purchase a few dollars worth of snacks. As McCrae tried to leave without paying, the gas station clerk, 22-year-old Al Hassan Ayash, locked the store's doors to prevent him from leaving. Tensions quickly escalated inside the store, where 3 other customers, including Gregory Kelly, were present.
Before we shot us, there was a lot of yelling going on, so everybody was yelling, all was yelling at the car to let us out. I think maybe that Greg was just trying to get out. She was nothing. I turned around and said, "Hey man, what got nothing to do with it?"
After a brief exchange, McCrae pulled out a firearm, resulting in the tragic death of Kelly and injuries to 2 others, Anthony Bowden and David Langston.
Once I shot the first guy, I realized the shot. I laid on the floor by the door.
Okay, and why did you do that?
Because I knew bullets was going everywhere. I hope one wouldn't hit me.
Before the shooting, as you're inside the store, did you have any reason to fear that things were going to escalate toward violence?
Yeah, well, I wasn't sure, but knowing that when arguments escalate, you can turn it to anything, I got kind of worried about it.
Following the incident, McCrae fled, but was later arrested, while Ayash remained at the scene and contacted authorities. Soon after, Ayash was charged with involuntary manslaughter, with prosecutors arguing that his decision to lock the doors contributed to the outcome by preventing others from escaping. He pleaded not guilty and was released on bond while awaiting trial. Separately, 2 of the victims filed a civil lawsuit against the gas station and its operators, claiming negligence. In 2024, the Michigan Court of Appeals dismissed the manslaughter charge against Ayash, ruling that the consequences of locking the door were not reasonably foreseeable. In response to the broader concerns raised by the case, Detroit officials introduced new regulations prohibiting businesses from locking customers inside behind protective glass barriers. In In June 2017, 27-year-old Egypt Covington was found dead in her Van Buren Township home in Michigan, marking the beginning of a lengthy investigation. For years, her family waited for justice as the case remained unsolved. Eventually, investigators determined that Shane Lamar Evans, who knew Egypt from school, had directed two others, Timothy Eugene Moore and Shandon Ray Groom, to her duplex. Their plan was to steal marijuana from her neighbor, whom Evans did yard work for, but they mistakenly targeted the wrong home. Upon entering Egypt's residence while she was watching a movie, the situation escalated, leading to her tragic death. Years later, after Michigan State Police took over the investigation, all three suspects were arrested. In 2023, Evans pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and received a sentence of 15 to 25 years in prison. As part of his plea deal, he agreed to testify against Moore and Groom. Shortly before their scheduled trial, Moore and Groom also entered guilty pleas to second-degree murder.
The defendant is an individual who has no regard for human life.
I don't even pray for his soul. I'm not there yet. I may never be there. And he was the one that went to school with her, that went to school with us. And he was the one that knew her as a human being. And he was also the one that once he realized what happened, did nothing. He is as culpable as the person that pulled the trigger.
The defendant's actions led to the death of my daughter. He struck the match which led to the fire that extinguished her.
Throughout the court proceedings, Egypt's family shared emotional statements about the lasting impact of her loss.
A piece of me and my family died when she did. We will never, ever be the same. Unpredictable and periodic episodes of anxiety, depression, dysfunction. That's what our family's been going through day after day, year after year.
I hurt y'all and I'm so sorry for what happened. I just don't know what to say. I'm so sorry. I can't put in words of how sorry I am to you.
Moore was sentenced to 20 to 55 years, while Groom received 17 to 26 years. After 6 years of waiting, the convictions provided a sense of closure for the family as justice was finally served. In October 2022, 49-year-old Dinah Mae Terrell, a breast cancer survivor, was working as a Lyft driver in Michigan. Early one morning, she picked up 19-year-old Kamari Phillips from a Walmart in Auburn Hills, heading toward Pontiac. As they neared their destination, the ride took a tragic turn when Dinah was fatally harmed. Her vehicle eventually crashed into a utility pole at the corner of Putnam and Rundle. Authorities later discovered that Dinah's personal belongings were untouched, ruling out robbery as a motive. Investigators quickly used ride details and phone data to track down Phillips, who was arrested without incident.
I seen the Lyft driver got I'm like, oh my God, that's terrible. And then later in the day, come to find out it was somebody I knew closely and personally. It really shocked me and hurt me badly.
Over the months that followed, Dinah's family and friends gathered to honor her memory, remembering her as a strong, loving mother and grandmother.
I am going to deny bond at this time.
It just shows you how someone you know personally can be gone any moment by something so senselessly. It's senseless, and now 2 lives are ruined and 2 families are ruined.
Nearly 2 years later, in June 2024, Phillips accepted a plea deal, entering a no-contest plea to second-degree murder and related charges. He was sentenced to 16 to 60 years in prison. While the court proceedings brought some closure, Dinah's loved ones continue to cherish her memory and the positive impact she had on their lives. In July 2022, a dispute over blocked parking on Coyle Street in Detroit turned into a tragic event. Winston Kirtley Jr., upset about cars obstructing his driveway, retrieved a firearm from inside his home and opened fire on a nearby gathering. 8 people were struck during the incident, with 2 of them losing their lives. Police quickly arrived at the scene and took Kirtley into custody without resistance. A subsequent search of his home uncovered multiple firearms strategically placed throughout the residence, raising further concerns about about the situation.
The court finds you to be a danger to the community and therefore will remand you into custody.
Following his arrest, Kirtley faced numerous charges, including first-degree murder, multiple counts of assault with intent to murder, and firearm offenses.
Right now, he's currently housed on our mental health unit, and he will not put any clothes on.
Concerns about his mental state led the court to order a competency evaluation early in the legal process.
The first time I visited him, he was not very responsive at all. Yesterday, I went to see him again. I found him to be on the psychiatric floor. I found him to be very much in a confused state of mind, as well as very aggressive.
He refuses to put on clothes.
Yes, he's naked right now.
My question was, is he refusing to participate?
He's refusing to put on clothes, so in a word, yes.
After a lengthy investigation and legal proceedings, Kirtley was found guilty on all charges in September 2024. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, bringing some closure to the victims' families and the community impacted by the incident. In February 2021, Detroit police officer Tiara Iris Funderburg was involved in a fatal accident while responding to a call. While driving her patrol car with lights and sirens on, she entered an intersection at high speed, running a red light and colliding with a vehicle driven by 58-year-old attorney Cliff Woodards. Woodards was transported to the hospital, but sadly passed away from his injuries.
The defendant is currently charged with driving a motor vehicle while on duty as a police officer in a grossly negligent way, neglecting her department duties, running a red light at between 45 and 49 miles an hour, causing the death of Mr. Woodards.
The investigation revealed Funderburg had a history of traffic violations, including multiple speeding tickets, a previous red light crash while on duty, and several other accidents.
Ms. Funderburg's driving record shows 4 speeding citations, 1 disregarding a stop sign citation, and 4 motor vehicle accidents, this being the 4th. One of those prior motor vehicle accidents was also on duty, running a red light, in a crash that was found by her superiors to be preventable. For those reasons, we're asking a bond condition be no driving a motor vehicle.
Legal proceedings followed, and Funderburg was charged with involuntary manslaughter and willful neglect of duty.
It's hollow, right? Because he's still gone. And it was so unnecessary.
My heart and prayers goes out to the Woodard family, what they must be going through, and to add to that tragedy, it's a member of our department that's responsible for the act. So we're going to let the judicial process play itself out. Her status will be changed. I'll be making a recommendation to the Board of Police Commissioners for suspension without pay.
In August 2022, she entered a no-contest plea to the neglect charge as part of a plea deal, which led to probation, community service, and the loss of her police certification, while the manslaughter charge was dismissed. In 2023, the city of Detroit reached a $5 million settlement with Woodard's family. Meanwhile, Funderburg remains on leave as the department reviews further disciplinary action. In early 2023, tensions within the Garza family began to surface when relatives filed court documents to remove 48-year-old Max Garza from his role as co-trustee and guardian of his mother's living trust in Troy, Michigan. The family accused him of mishandling funds, failing to maintain the family home, and allowing hoarding conditions to worsen. After reviewing the evidence, the judge ruled that Garza was unfit to continue managing his mother's affairs and ordered his removal from both positions, along with instructions to repay the money he had allegedly misused.
Max Garza has not distinguished himself as a suitable fiduciary. It's appropriate for me to remove Max Garza at this time as a co-guardian in this case.
As the probate matters unfolded, a far more serious situation came to light. In mid-2023, authorities uncovered an alleged plot in which Garza was accused of trying to arrange the deaths of 5 of his family members.
Max Garza was soliciting to all 5 of the family members. The details which have been expressed in the police reports, are horrific. Those have been submitted to Your Honor under seal.
Investigators claimed he attempted to hire someone to carry out the plan, even threatening to act himself if necessary. Law enforcement intervened, and Garza was arrested and charged with multiple counts of solicitation to commit murder. He has since remained in legal proceedings, facing both the criminal charges related to the alleged plot and the financial consequences of the earlier probate case. In October 2023, 19-year-old Stephen Lee Freeman was involved in a traffic accident in Roseville, Michigan, when the pickup truck he was driving collided with another vehicle. After the crash, Freeman fled the scene on foot. When police arrived, they made a startling discovery. The body of 62-year-old Gabrielle Seitz was found in the back of the truck. Authorities observed concerning signs suggesting Seitz may have been harmed before her death. The vehicle itself was also identified as belonging to Seitz, raising further questions about the circumstances leading up to the incident.
Not sure where it led to be left. He had been living in St. Clair Shores. He's currently not working. He has no criminal record.
Was found with a shoelace around her neck, obvious signs of strangulation. There's a significant amount of investigation still ongoing.
As the investigation unfolded, Freeman was initially charged with concealing a death and receiving stolen property. However, as more evidence came to light, authorities expanded the charges to include felony murder, home invasion, and additional serious offenses. Investigators believe Freeman may have entered Seitz's home prior to the incident. While Freeman remains in custody without bond, the case continues to progress, with court proceedings scheduled to determine the full details of what occurred. On August 22, 2023, Aiden Clark was killed in a devastating school bus crash in Springfield, Ohio. The bus he was riding collided with a minivan driven by Herminio Joseph, a 36-year-old Haitian immigrant who did not have a valid U.S. driver's license. Aiden was fatally injured, while 13 others sustained various injuries. Joseph was later convicted of involuntary manslaughter and vehicular homicide and sentenced to up to 13.5 years in prison. The accident deeply shook the local community and quickly drew national attention. In the months that followed, Aiden's grieving father, Nathan Clark, publicly denounced political figures, including Donald Trump, Senator J.D. Vance, Chip Roy, and Bernie Moreno, for using his son's death to promote anti-immigration rhetoric.
We felt it would be in our best interest to be here after recent comments. You know, I wish that my son, Aiden Clark, was killed by a 60-year-old white man. I bet you never thought anyone would ever say something so blunt. But if that guy, my 11-year-old son, the incessant group of hate-spewing people would leave us alone. The last thing that we need is to have the worst day of our lives violently and constantly shoved in our faces. But even that's not good enough for them. They take it one step further. They make it seem as though our wonderful Aiden appreciates your hate, that we should follow their hate. And look what you've done to us. We have to get up here and beg them to stop. Using Aiden as a political tool is, to say the least, reprehensible for any political purpose. And speaking of morally bankrupt, politicians, Bernie Moreno, Chip Roy, J.D. Vance, and Donald Trump, they have spoken my son's name and used his death for political gain. This needs to stop now. They can vomit all the hate they want about illegal immigrants, the border crisis, and even untrue claims about fluffy pets being ravaged and eaten by community members. However, they are not allowed, nor have they ever been allowed to mention Aiden Clark from Springfield, Ohio. I will listen to them one more time to hear their apologies. To clear the air, my son, Aiden Clark, was not murdered. He was accidentally killed by an immigrant from Haiti. This tragedy is felt all over this community, the state, and even the nation. But don't spin this towards hate. In order to live like Aiden, you need to accept everyone, Choose to shine, make the difference, lead the way, and be the inspiration. What many people in this community and state and nation are doing is the opposite of what you should be doing. Sure, we have our problems here in Springfield and in the U.S., but does Aiden Clark have anything to do with that? Did you know that an 11-year-old boy could be passionate about gardening, that he could haggle for a better price at a yard sale? Did you know that he researched different cultures to better appreciate and understand people that he interacted with? Did you know that one of the worst feelings in the world is to not be able to protect your child? Even worse, we can't even protect his memory when he's gone. Please stop the hate. I said to Aiden that I would try to make a difference in his honor. This is it.
Speaking at a Springfield City Commission meeting, Clark stated firmly that Aiden's death was a tragic accident, not a murder, and condemned the exploitation of his son's memory to fuel political narratives. He shared the pain of not only losing his son, but also having to defend his legacy from being twisted for public agendas. Clark called for an end to the politicization of tragedy, asking instead that people honor his son's spirit by choosing compassion, understanding, and kindness. His message: live like Aiden. In late April 2024, Mia Rudd was last seen at her family's home in Reynolds Station, Kentucky. Due to prior concerns, including reports that Mia had been exposed to at birth, Child Protection Services had been monitoring the household. However, no official action was taken to remove her before she vanished. In early June, during a routine welfare check, Kentucky State Police were unable to locate Mia. When questioned, her parents, Tesla Tucker and Cage Rudd, along with her grandfather, Ricky Smith, claimed that the girl had been taken by Child Protective Services. Authorities quickly confirmed that no such action had occurred, prompting an immediate investigation into her disappearance. On June 6th, police executed a search warrant at the family's home. During the search, they found drug-related materials and other items of concern, including residue believed to be methamphetamine in a room that appeared to belong to the girl. The investigation intensified. Cadaver dogs and sonar equipment were brought in, and the home was thoroughly searched over several days. Then, on June 14th, officers discovered a duffel bag hidden inside the cluttered home. Inside were the remains of a girl, later confirmed to be Mia. Authorities noted the living environment was extremely unsanitary, and drug paraphernalia was easily accessible in areas where the girl was present. Toxicology results showed Mia had been exposed to illegal substances. Following this discovery, a grand jury indicted Mia's parents, her grandfather, and another individual named Brody Payne. They faced a range of charges, including murder, abuse, tampering with evidence, and failing to report a death.
Enter plea not guilty, set discovery pretrial on 8/6 at 10 o'clock. Are you Tesla Tucker, same one as named in the indictment?
Yes, sir.
Have you received a copy of that indictment or if you merit the charges against you?
Yes, sir.
During preliminary hearings in June and again in January 2025, prosecutors presented details about the living conditions, drug activity, and inconsistent statements made by the adults involved. A detective testified that drug materials, including a bag containing residue and drug packaging items, were found in a room with items like a bassinet and diapers.
And were you the lead detective in this investigation regarding several drug offenses, criminal abuse of a child, and engaging in organized crime, as well as some gun charges on some of these individuals as well?
Yes, sir.
Did you obtain a search warrant for a residence that led to some of these charges?
I did.
Can you tell us about that?
Yes, this involves a separate investigation. Obtained a search warrant for the residence of 217 Deanfield Church Road in Reynolds Station. We executed that search warrant on June the 6th. During the execution of that search warrant, located several items, one being a plastic bag in plain view laying in the floor that's consistent with methamphetamine. It was field tested and tested positive for methamphetamine. Located in plain view, roughly around 61 trazodone pills that were already packaged for sale. Located a large amount of bags. Also located a large scale that's consistent with drug trafficking. Again, multiple items of paraphernalia. We located 3 firearms in the residence, 2 hands, and another long. Located a bag with what appeared to be THC edibles, marijuana edibles that were packaged. We've also located on a second search warrant more paraphernalia, more items that are consistent with potential manufacturing that they have not been charged yet, but we're still processing that evidence.
With your training and experience, do you believe to be the drugs you've mentioned and field test positive for meth?
Yes, the bag that we located in plain view, it appeared that it was in a child's room. It was laying next to Narcan, which is a overdose medication to reverse, an overdose. That plastic bag was field tested and tested positive for methamphetamine. And there was also what is called a straw tutor that's commonly used to encephalate or snort drugs in that same room.
Through your investigation, have you determined whether or not these 3 individuals reside on the property?
Yes, through our investigation, we actually determined there were 4 individuals, potentially a 5th one. We're still investigating that lived at the property, but the main 3 are Tesla Tucker, Cage Rudd, and Ricky Smith.
Is it fair statement that all 3 of these individuals were in custody at the time of the execution of the search warrant?
They were. We had taken them into custody the night prior over another investigation, which also included drug offenses as well.
Now, those offenses are in a different county. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, Davis County.
But in what you recovered the night before in Davis County, is it relevant to the charge of engaging in organized crime in this county and this charge as well?
It is, and also the stuff that we located at this residence is not only connected to that investigation, but it's also connected to a federal investigation in Davis County as well.
Is it a fair statement that based on what you found in the execution of this search warrant in Ohio County, along with what you found the night before in Davis County, did it indicate to you ongoing drug trafficking activity by all 3 of these individuals?
Yes, sir.
Are you also aware, for the film with the gun charge on Mr. Smith, are you aware or have you been informed that he's a convicted felon?
Yes, we had dispatched coordinate him and confirmed that he had been convicted of a felony.
Mr. Rudd as well, I believe, has that same charge. Is it felony diversion he's under?
He's under a felony diversion.
There's also a criminal abuse of a child under the age of 12 count here. In your investigation, over the course of the last few months, have there been children present in that home to your knowledge from the investigation?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Through our investigation, obviously we have some conflicting stories of what kids were out there, but we were for sure on a small baby that was living in the residence. Through interviews, we were able to confirm that 3 other children had been in and out of the residence between that residence and grandma's house, who actually has custody of those children. But the small baby was the one that was supposed to be living actively in that residence. The other ones, through our investigation, would show that they were living there off and on.
Is it a fair statement that all 4 of these children you're discussing are under the age of 12?
Yes.
Are all 4 of these children, well, to your knowledge at least, the children of Ms. Tucker and Mr. Rudd?
To my knowledge, yes.
The items that you recovered, the drugs and drug paraphernalia that you testified to earlier throughout the property, were they in locations that were easily accessible to a child?
Absolutely. Specifically, the bag of meth was in a room with a bassinet, a child's bed, and it was literally laying in the floor in plain view next to Narcan.
And was that address here in Ohio County?
It is, it's 217 Deanfield Church Road in Reynolds Station.
Judge, I think it's all the questions I have limited to the charges that we're here on today.
I'll start going left to right.
Yes, Judge. So Detective Malott, you said the bag that was located in what you believe to be the child's room, that field tested positive for methamphetamine?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have an approximate weight on how much was in that?
It's just residue. Obviously, the lab will weigh it, but it's residue.
Understood. Was there any amount of methamphetamine that you found that was not residue?
We found a glass bottle. I don't know if it's methamphetamine. It's a white powder, but again, it was just simply residue. We're obviously waiting to see what that comes back with the lab. I didn't field test that.
Okay. And the 61 trazodone pills you mentioned, you said that those had been packaged for sale.
Yes.
What did you mean when you said that?
So obviously pills come in, a pill bottle. Those pills were actually located on the fireplace in what I believe is the living room. Mm-hmm. And basically they had taken a plastic bag and had sealed it off by burning the edges. That way it's not like a normal plastic bag where you just open it up. And that's common with drug trafficking.
Were all 61 in one bag, or were they placed separately in other bags?
They were all in one bag.
Okay, and you said you knew that the methamphetamine bag had been found in a child's room because there was furniture indicating it was?
And there was a diaper in there. There's a lot of items in that room, but there was a bassinet, baby bed, another child's bed, baby diapers. So I would indicate that would more likely be the child's room.
However, no signs of physical trauma were confirmed, and the cause of death remained officially undetermined. All 4 adults were taken into custody. In April 2025, Ricky Smith appeared in court again, where a future hearing date was set. As of now, all defendants remain in jail as the legal process moves toward trial, and the investigation continues into how Mia's life ended and what role each adult may have played in the events leading up to it. Dylann Roof, a 21-year-old with white supremacist views, carried out one of the deadliest racially motivated attacks in modern U.S. history. On the evening of June 17, 2015, he entered Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Charleston, South Carolina, one of the oldest historically black churches in the country. He joined a small Bible study group and sat with them for nearly an hour. As the session neared its end, Roof stood up and opened fire. 9 members of the congregation, including State Senator and Pastor Clementa Pinckney. The following morning, on June 18th, Roof was arrested during a traffic stop in Shelby, North Carolina. A citizen had recognized his car and alerted authorities. During his interrogation by the FBI, Roof calmly confessed to the attack. In the videotaped interview, he confessed to the and explained that he targeted the church because of its historical significance to the black community.
Can you tell us about what happened last night?
Whoa. Yeah, I mean, I went to that church in Charleston, and, I did it.
We did what? Well, I mean, I know it's tough sometimes to say it.
It's not that I don't want to say it because I don't want to make myself seem guilty. I just don't really like saying it.
But I know sometimes we have to face those things, the realities.
We don't want to put any words in your mouth. That's why.
Right.
That's why Agent Stansbury was asking you what it exactly is that you did do.
Well, I did. Well, I guess. I mean, I don't really know. I don't know how many people or anything like that.
So did you shoot them?
Yes.
What kind of gun did you use?
A Glock 45.
Okay. Was that? Or?
Yes, I bought it from.
What was the source by that from? in West Columbia, Shooter's Choice?
Well, it's in Columbia. I'm not sure what.
Swiss. But
Yeah.
the one, they got the indoor range there?
Yes. I never used it, but yes, they have one, I think.
Okay, so it's
How long ago did you purchase that, the weapon?
It's July?
Yeah.
July.
No, it's June. We're in June right now.
Oh, it's June, okay. Probably like 2 months ago.
About 2 months ago?
Yeah.
So you just turned 21, right?
Right.
So it was like it was for your birthday or?
No, I bought it when I turned 21.
Yeah. So all right. So going back to the church, you pulled out and then you shot them, started shooting people, or how? I mean, how?
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, so do you know how many people you?
If I was gonna guess, five, maybe. I'm really not sure exactly.
Well,
4, 5. I'm not sure.
Did you say anything to them before or after or during?
No, I didn't say anything to them before anything.
Before? What about after?
Well, I think like during I said like don't talk to me or something like that, you know.
Like while you were shooting?
Well, they're like in the middle, you know. But I didn't really talk to them.
How long were you at the church before you actually before you pulled your weapon out? And you said yourself you think maybe 5 or so people. How long were you at the church before you decided that you were going to do that?
Well, I just went in the church, you know, and then I sat down with them for like maybe 15 minutes.
15 minutes?
Could have been 20, it could have been 10, but I think it was probably around 15.
Were they having a meeting or something? Or?
No, this was a Bible study class.
So you knew the Bible study class was going to happen?
Yes, because I had went there before and asked them.
Okay, so you've been to the church before?
Well, not in it.
But outside and said, when do you have Bible study? Or?
Well, yeah, I just saw somebody get into their car and I asked them.
When was that?
Oh, that was like, oh, God. That was probably... I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Well, right before, or when you pulled out and started, or right before, did you remember what you said, or if you said anything to the people when you pulled? Because I mean,
oh no, I didn't.
If you suddenly pulled out a gun, I'm like,
right, that's what I did. I didn't say anything to them before I pulled it out.
Did they?
Not even one word. I didn't say anything to them.
Did they see or anybody react to you as you pulled the gun out, or were you already before they knew what was happening?
I mean, they reacted after I.
Right, we understand.
Yeah. Right.
He admitted to planning the act in hopes of sparking racial tension, revealing that he had considered ending his own life afterward, but changed his mind when no police arrived immediately. 2 days after the shooting, on June 19th, Roof appeared in court via video link for a bond hearing.
No, sir, Your Honor. I just want to make it clear for those who aren't familiar again with our process that you don't have authority to set bond on the murder charges, so that's why you aren't addressing those. We do have the bond for the one firearms charge. So regardless of what bond you set, the defendant will remain in custody.
Yes, ma'am. On the 9 counts of murder, I do not have the authority to set bond on these charges. On the one count of possession of a weapon during the commission of the crime, a violent crime, I'm setting your bond, young man, at $1 million. Is there anything else to come before this court today in regards to this case? Hearing none, we stand concluded in this hearing. Thank you.
Although the judge set a $1 million bond for a weapons charge, no bond was granted for the murder charges. During the hearing, family members of the victims addressed Roof directly. Their words, though spoken through grief, focused on forgiveness.
You have a right as the representative of the family to make a statement today before we set bond. Would you like to do so, ma'am? Thank you very much. Ethel Lance, would you like to make a statement in regards to this hearing concerning Ethel Lance as a victim, ma'am? Yes. Would you like to come forward, please? You are representing the family of Ethel Lance, is that correct? And you are whom, ma'am?
The daughter.
The daughter. I'm listening, and you can talk to me.
I just want everybody to know, to you, I forgive you. You took something very precious away from me. I would never talk to her ever again. I would never be able to hold her again. But I forgive you. And have mercy on your soul. You hurt me. You hurt a lot of people. But God forgive you. And I forgive you.
Thank you, ma'am, and I appreciate you being here. Your name, sir?
Anthony Thompson.
Mr. Thompson.
I would just like him to know that...
Speak up for me. I can go here.
Saying the same thing that was just said. You know, I forgive you, my family forgive you. But we would like you to take this opportunity to repent. Repent. Confess. Give your life to the one who matters the most, Christ, so that he can change it, can change your ways no matter what happened to you, and you'll be okay. Do that, and you'll be better off than what you are right now.
Thank you, sir. Your name, ma'am?
Felicia Sanders.
Thank you, Ms. Sanders, for being here.
We welcome you Wednesday night in our Bible study with open arms. You have some of the most beautifulest people that I know. Every fiber in my body hurts, and I'll never be the same. Tawanza Sanders is my son, but Tawanza was my hero. Tawanza was my hero. But as we said in Bible study, we enjoyed you, but may God have mercy on you.
Thank you, ma'am. A representative of Daniel Simmons. Your name, ma'am?
Alana Simmons.
Thank you, Ms. Simmons, for being here. Your statement, please.
Although my grandfather and the other victims died at the hands of hate, this is proof, everyone's plea for your soul is proof that they lived in love and their legacies will live in love. So hate won't win. And I just want to thank the courts for making sure that hate doesn't win.
Thank you, ma'am, for being here. Cynthia Hurd, a representative of the family of Cynthia Hurd.
We have nothing to say.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being here today, sir. The Reverend DePayne Middleton Doctor. Your name, please, ma'am?
Nathaniel Middleton Brown.
Thank you for being here.
The opinion doctor was my sister. And I too thank you on the behalf of my family for not allowing hate to win. For me, I'm a work in progress, and I acknowledge that I am very angry. But one thing DePayne has always joined in our family with is that she taught me that we are the family that love built. We have no room for hate, so we have to forgive. I pray God on your soul, and I also thank God that I won't be around when your judgment day comes with him. May God bless you.
Thank you, ma'am. Representative of the Reverend and Senator Clemente Pinckney. Is there a representative of the Pinckney family here today? Thank you. Mr. Pennington, is there anything else you wish to tell the court?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Some urged him to repent, others offered spiritual mercy, saying they forgave him despite the pain he caused.
Mr. Roof is charged with 9 counts of murder and 1 count of possession of a weapon during the commission of the crime. Representing the state is the solicitor Scarlett Wilson, and representing the defendant is Mr. Ashley Pennington.
Federal authorities soon filed 33 charges against Roof, including crimes, obstruction of religious freedom, and firearms violations. South Carolina also charged him with 9 counts of murder. His federal trial began in December 2016. During the proceedings, jurors were shown his recorded confession, in which he admitted to the without emotion. On December 15, 2016, the jury found him guilty on all counts, and on January 10, 2017, he was sentenced to death by the federal court. He later pleaded guilty to state charges in April 2017, receiving 9 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. Dylann Roof remains on federal death row, and his case continues to serve as a grim reminder of the destructive power of hate and the enduring strength of faith. Will Lewis, the former sheriff of Greenville County, South Carolina, once held a position of public trust and authority, but his career collapsed after serious allegations surfaced. In 2017, Lewis was accused of using county resources to pursue an inappropriate relationship with his assistant. Evidence revealed he used public funds to pay for her salary, travel, a county-issued phone, and lodging, while reportedly grooming her during work-related trips. These actions prompted a state investigation, and in 2019, Lewis was indicted and stood trial. In October of that year, a jury found him guilty of misconduct in office. Although he faced multiple charges, including ethics violations, he was convicted solely for using his office for personal gain.
That being a sheriff is not a part-time job. Those of you who labor in the fields of law enforcement know that 24/7 you're the sheriff, and you owe that duty to the citizens of Greenville County and your fellow officers. And throughout this trial, of course, there was mention of money and perhaps abuse of money. But money is not what you stole from Greenville County. What you stole from the citizens of Greenville County was your time that you invested in this so-called affair, the energy that you invested in this so-called affair. You stole that time and energy as the sheriff of Greenville County from the citizens of Greenville County and your fellow officers. Maybe it wasn't a long time, but there seemed at least to have seen that you expended an extraordinary amount of time and energy in those 5 months in dedicating yourself to what the jury said was wrongdoing. And speaking of time, you're a young man. Your counsel and solicitor and I have weathered many years. Like the solicitor in one sense, I've been on this bench 20 years and I've never had tried a case like this. But I hadn't had to. As you know, I was assigned to do this. But I think that regardless of the sentence, your life is not over. You talk about good things you can do for your family and the community. That's yet to be seen, whether you're sincere in those comments. But I do think, in my mind, as I say, the money's not important. It's the dedication that you owed to the citizens of this county, which unfortunately can't be repaid. So my sentence, unfortunately for you, is going to give you a lot of time to think about this. You put in perspective your life with your family, with your community, and with your God. I'd advise you not to squander or waste that time. So Mr. Lewis is sent before that you be committed to State Department of Corrections for a period of 1 year. Good luck to you, sir.
On October 25, 2019, Judge G. Thomas Cooper Jr. sentenced him to 1 year in state prison, the maximum penalty allowed for the charge, resulting in his automatic removal from office. Lewis appealed the conviction, but in August 2021, the South Carolina Supreme Court denied a final review, sealing his fate. On October 13, 2021, he reported to a state prison intake facility. Due to safety concerns related to his former role in law enforcement, his attorneys requested that he serve his sentence out of state, although he ultimately remained in South Carolina. Lewis earned credit for good behavior, which allowed him early release around April 1st, 2022, having served less than 6 months. While the misconduct conviction ended his law enforcement career, no additional criminal charges followed. His case stands as a cautionary example of how the abuse of public power can lead to personal and professional downfall, and it marked one of the most high-profile removals of a sheriff in recent South Carolina history. In May 2016, a tragedy unfolded in Asheville, North Carolina, when 22-year-old Candace Pickens was found fatally shot in Jones Park. Her son, Zacchaeus Waters, was discovered beside her with life-threatening injuries. Though Zacchaeus survived, he was left permanently disabled. The investigation swiftly led authorities to 24-year-old Nathaniel Dixon, who was arrested shortly afterward in Columbus, Ohio, and extradited to North Carolina to face charges. Prosecutors presented a chilling case, supported by digital evidence, text messages, and witness testimonies. One of the most significant elements was a string of threatening texts Dixon had sent to Pickens after learning she was pregnant with his son. He reportedly demanded she terminate the pregnancy, and when she refused, tensions escalated. On May 11th, 2016, he shot Candace and then turned the on their son. A witness, who herself had been shortly before the verdict, bravely testified during the trial. In June 2019, a Buncombe County jury convicted Dixon on 3 major charges: first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and malicious maiming. The following month, Judge Greg Horn sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole for Candace's murder.
Stipulation, as well as shown on the prior sentencing worksheet, we had reviewed that document as well as its attachments that we find total of 8 points for prior record level 3 for sentencing purposes. The court has heard and considered the evidence in this matter in the sentencing presentation. The court, while having considered each preliminary judgment in each case within the presumptive range provided by law. As to the charge of first-degree murder of Ms. Candace Pickens, a Class A felony, the court sentences Mr. Dixon to a term of life in the North Carolina Department of Adult Correction without possibility of parole. The court will recommend any mental health evaluation and treatment that may be available to him during his incarceration. The court makes reference to the mental health and psychological documents that are being sent by defense counsel showing his recent treatment and diagnosis. Court, that is the judgment of the court in that matter. As to the second charge of attempted first-degree murder, a Class B2 felony, again, 8 points prior record level 3 from the presumptive range. Judgment of the court would be 207 months in the North Carolina Department of Adult Correction to a corresponding maximum of 261 months. That is a minimum of 207 months to a corresponding maximum of 261 months. That sentence is ordered to run consecutive to, not concurrent with, the preceding sentence. The court will make the same recommendation regarding mental health evaluation and treatment. As to the charge of malicious maiming, a Class C felony, Class 3, Level 3, again based upon 8 points from the presumptive range. It is the judgment of the court to defendant be incarcerated in custody of the North Carolina Department of Adult Correction for a minimum of 96 months to a corresponding maximum of 128 months. The court makes the same sentencing recommendation. Anything further from the state in this matter? As to that sentence, the court will not make a finding as to that. Anything further from the state? Anything further from the defense?
Obviously, the court would have credit that should apply to your state custody disposition.
Mr. You may have said that amount of time and not make this. Do you have an exact calculation?
I will certify that on certification.
Certainly, Mr. Dixon is entitled to his pretrial credit that will be certified and applied with the lead sentence. Right? Mr. Understand?
No, we wouldn't have a formal people to follow that because we can time.
You asked him that the adult defender's office be appointed. The court would notice of appeal is timely given and open court. The judgment should be so marked, and the court, based upon the prior finding of indigency, would appoint the office of the public defender to represent Mr. Dixon in the settlement. All right. Anything further from the state? Anything further from the defense? I wish all of the family members on both sides who have been present throughout. I wish you all well. My sympathies are with each of them.
Please stay seated for a few minutes, please.
Additional sentences of 207 to 261 months for attempting to kill Zacchaeus and 96 to 128 months for the maiming charge were ordered to run consecutively. During sentencing, Candace's family members addressed Dixon directly, expressing the pain he caused and the permanent void left by her death. In December 2023, Dixon appealed his convictions, alleging racial bias during jury selection. The North Carolina Court of Appeals upheld the original ruling. affirming both his guilt and the sentence imposed. Today, Dixon remains in prison, while Zacchaeus continues to recover from lifelong injuries. Big thanks to our viewers for joining the courtroom journey with us. Your interest in the stories of justice is what keeps our channel alive.